Well, thanks to all you guys for coming out today. Only the best Subway sandwiches for you guys. And it's nice to be kind of among friends. We all, of course, know each other being here in the office. And the history of our relationship between Verdical Group and Pankow goes back, I think it's been 3.5 years, I believe.
We could go back to that pursuit that we did for...
Exactly. Brad and I did a pursuit together. Yeah, for a project in San Diego, probably 5 years ago, maybe, something like that. 4.5, 5 years ago. Then we stayed in touch, and then Verdical Group is now almost 5 years old. And I reached out to Brad, I said, hey, we're looking for office space. I know you guys, I live in Pasadena, I know you guys are in the area, and we started talking, and it worked out for us to come and be part of the Pankow office. It's been really awesome way to collaborate ever since. We flip a couple of these slides. I got these are your friendly Verdical Group neighbors.
We're here.
And Martin is here today too. And you guys know Holly, of course, as well. And Holly's going to present sort of the second half of the presentation today as well. Holly is our Director of Sustainability and has about 15 years of experience in the field. Had worked at GBCI in the past, the Green Business Certification Institute. They're the third party that certifies LEED projects. And so it's nice to have somebody who worked sort of on the inside at GBCI, who's just totally a rock star expert in the field. And then Martin is one of our associate project managers who's been working on a lot of the projects with Pankow PMs and actually getting the project submitted. But we just wanted to have a quick slide of sort of all the different ways that we collaborate with the Pankow team between Verdical Group and Pankow. So just sort of following the construction process, we're like part of the bid process and responding to RFPs, like for example the San Fernando Mental Health Center pursuit right now that we're working on with Sean and that Holly's been really involved with. So we can put our Verdical Group resumes in there and help, with all the design team meetings to prepare for the actual submitting the proposal. This project is actually a really good example because it's a County of LA project that has a LEED Gold requirement. And it's version 4, which is the new rating system that just came out last October, and it's much more stringent and challenging than V3. So it's been really important for us to be a part of the design process because the requirements are so much stricter for us to help get the whole design team sort of oriented around LEED and making sure we get to LEED Gold, which has been a challenge on this one. I've been hearing from Holly, and Holly and Sean have been working on it a lot. So then also, just being here in the office, anytime there's a question that arises related to sustainability or getting your LEED credential from a Pankow team member, or any question about a specific rating system, we're here in the office, easily accessible. Just stop by and ask a question, and we love that. We love to have you guys stop by anytime. And then in the pre-con process, we can help with sustainability charrettes, sort of kicking off projects and brainstorming sessions about all the different LEED or sustainability strategies that are out there that might be applicable to the project. Attending meetings, like I mentioned. And then you get into the actual project work during construction of working on the certification work. We also do a lot of commissioning work, so we've been doing more and more commissioning on Pankow projects as well, which has been great. We'd love to continue to develop that with all of you guys. So it's certification project management, mostly LEED, but it could be Living Building Challenge or WELL or another type of green certification as well. And then, oh, good idea.
I didn't realize that.
And then the commissioning and MEP oversight work. We have Frank in our team is our commissioning guy, and we have his bio in here later on that we'll show you guys. And then you get to post occupancy, and that when you're doing your commissioning warranty walk and your final certification push to actually complete your LEED certification after the project's complete. And then sort of overarching, the Pankow Blue Sustainability Program, which has been pretty dormant the past few months. Hopefully it'll come back and we'll be doing a little bit more with Brad and that team, but that's sort of the office operations and all the issues internally at Pankow, the internal sustainability team. Debbie's involved with that as well, that we assist with and help with, and we attend those meetings and try to just help promote sustainability in the Pankow culture. I don't know if you want to mention anything about that as well, Brad.
Well, Jim Coyle was the individual that kind of founded and was the face and the passion behind Pankow Blue. And with our lean initiatives and others, we just don't really have a lot of maybe capacity to we reinvigorate that, but there certainly is a commitment to sustainability, and we're taking a look at trying to reinvigorate that the Pankow Blue really needs to be more than just one person. It needs to be the company, the culture, et cetera. So it's something that we're going to be exploring for this year and next year. And Drew, one other question I had, and you may be getting into it, you and your team during the presentation, is during the pre-construction phase when you're providing some support, number one thing that would be helpful that I think that you can offer too is what are some of the upcoming code changes that will impact our future projects?
Yep, we're gonna be talking about CALGreen and
Yeah,
yeah,
and I
we're gonna
have
do that
a
a little bit
question.
today.
When you were mentioning version 4, was that for LA County specific or version 4?
That's worldwide.
Worldwide.
Yep, so LEED had, the newest version is version 4, the previous version, version 3, also known as version 2009. So I guess that's been, what, eight years since the previous version now. But that one, you couldn't enroll a new project after October 31st of last year, version 3. So as of November 1st, you have to enroll in version 4.
Okay.
So when the county had, in their RFP, had a LEED requirement for LEED Gold, it necessarily has to be V4. It's the newest required version of the rating system. Cool, so yeah, we'll talk about some code stuff as well. Thanks, Brad. Just a quick snapshot of all the projects we've worked on together here, from the addition, the VGG and CSC projects, Monroe Community Wellness Center, Calabasas, LACC M&O, Miramar, Myriad MOB, and then of course the Pankow Blue program. It's been great over the past 3.5 or so years to get involved on a lot of the big projects that have a sustainability component coming through the Pankow office. So I just wanted to quickly start with that, sort of how we work together now, and then we want this to be a great education session for you guys as well to talk about local green building market updates, net zero energy, just as sort of a movement happening in the country, LEED version 4 versus CALGreen, CALGreen code of course, and commissioning, and then certification systems, the various green certification systems that are out there. It seems like there's a new one every day. It's not just LEED, but beyond that, it's Living Building Challenge and Well and Vision and Sites, and there's a million of them out there. 22 different rating systems worldwide. So that's what we're going to cover today.
Can I interrupt?
Yeah.
Sorry, since it's still a little bit introductory here. Drew has been here much longer in your office than I have, and I'm sorry, I don't know everybody here. So would you mind going around and introducing yourself? No, Brad, but
Sure.
yes, please. So that I'm not a stranger sitting amongst everybody.
Yeah, maybe you could just introduce yourself and just briefly what you do.
Yeah, please.
So I'm Brad, and I'm here in the office.
What is your, so Holly knows that you're now...
Yeah, so my role, Holly, is Director of Construction Planning. So I help support both regions, Northern California and Southern California, kind of in the pre-construction phase of the projects.
Okay, great.
I'm Jin, I'm with the pre-con side and Brad's punching bag.
Ouch!
Where did that come from?
See, he's got a mouthful, great timing.
I'm Sean, project manager with Pankow. Drew mentioned working very closely with Holly on this pursuit with LA County. It's been great so far.
I'm Esteban. I'm part of the virtual design construction group here.
My name is Carrie, and I'm an office manager here.
And I'm Dustin, and I'm a project executive, and I focus on smaller projects and renovation work.
Patrick Meek, lead pre-con manager for Southern California.
What's up, Martin?
For everyone. I'm Martin and Associate Project Manager, but right now I'm mostly focused on the Net Zero Conference that we put on.
Camia, on smaller projects.
Debbie Bochner, I'm the Business Development Coordinator.
Okay, great. Awesome. Thank you, everyone. Appreciate it.
No, good, that was great. And we have kind of a lot of content packed into these slides, so I'm going to go pretty quickly. So if you have a question, just fire away as we kind of zip through some information for you guys. But we thought we'd start with sort of a snapshot that USGBC, the U.S. Green Building Council, provides on LEED, which is of course the most widely used green building rating system. And this is just California, not the entire country. But you can see the growth that's been happening since 2004 to today. We've got pretty dramatic growth. More gold projects than any other level of certification, which I thought was kind of interesting. I kind of thought there would be more silver than anything else, but it goes most gold, then silver, then certified, then platinum. Couple more statistics, again for just California, but the number of LEED credentialed professionals looks like about 30,000 total. Mostly just the LEED AP, the old credential that was out there originally, and then there's LEED with specialty that's like LEED AP BD&C or LEED AP ID&C, smaller chunk, then some Green Associates as well, which is sort of the entry-level credential now. I know that there's a good number of LEED APs and Green Associates on the Pankow team, which is great. And we have all of the test materials available, most updated materials for anybody on the team who's ever interested in pursuing their credential. We can help provide you with a lot of resources to do that. And also connect you with training sessions that are put on through USGBC LA. Both Holly and I are on the board of directors for the USGBC LA chapter. Member organizations, there's more professional firms, followed by contractors and builders, of course Pankow. Actually not sure if Pankow is a USGBC member, but I think so. I'm not sure.
We were last year.
Yeah.
I think we renewed.
I think we pay our dues.
Yeah.
Also, when you're talking about Pankow Blue Brad, I wanted to note that Michael Strong up in the San Francisco office is sort of another point person for the Pankow Blue program now. And for the past couple of years, I'll like meet him at a conference or something, and we've done a couple quick lean videos and things like that. We're going to do that again coming up in a few weeks up at the Living Future Conference in Seattle. Michael will be there as well, so we'll meet and we'll kind of try to bring that knowledge back to the Pankow office through a video. Space type, you can see there's more LEED office projects than anything else in the state, 4,600, followed by retail and education. Some interesting data points. Nationwide, 750 policies that incentivize LEED across the country, and it just depends on sort of the state and municipality you're in. For example, we did a LEED project for Ramada Inn in Anaheim, and the city of Anaheim has a LEED incentive where they offer, I think it's like 20 grand to the design team if it's certified, 30 grand if it's silver, and so on. They can get things like expedited plan check and things like that. But it really just depends on the city that your project is in. There's also state by state, there's different incentives for LEED and green building standards like green globes in different states across the country. Moving on, we wanted to talk a little bit about this. This is a kind of an interesting acronym, EBEWE. People are calling it, or saying EBEWE. That's how they're saying it, EBEWE. This is a City of LA ordinance that you guys should definitely be aware of. The first deadline for compliance is July 1st. Holly is on the Speakers Bureau for the EBEWE ordinance, so she is going around and speaking with building owners that need to comply with this. So she is more of an expert than I am. But these types of ordinances are going in around the country in all these different cities. Of course, LA, it just went into became law January 1st in the city of LA.
So back to that, Drew, that is the kind of information that would really be helpful for us, because we're doing conceptual budgeting that's based on past historical cost. If there's a future change as it relates to water conservation that will impact that budget. That's the kind of information that would be helpful for us to know that the impact of that would be approximately this amount of cost. And we could advise our clients too, as we're providing service to them, that hey, this is coming out on July 1st, and this is what it means to a residential project, this is what it means to an office project.
Yeah,
So maybe we could, at another time, kind of connect in a smaller group and talk about some of those, and the impacts of those have.
Sure.
One thing to note is that it is focused on existing buildings more than new construction. So I think code, the CALGreen code will get a lot of the way towards efficiency for energy and water efficiency on new construction projects. I think the biggest thing that the city's seeking to do here is try to catch up that chunk of building stock in existing buildings that's old and outdated and just energy hogs or water hogs, and just try to get them to catch up and move forward and make some progress.
So sorry, what we're expecting to see here is that there's annual benchmarking, so
Mhm.
reporting has to happen annually. In a couple years, what is gonna have to happen is actual retrofits to get to Energy Star certification for your property.
Okay.
So we're gonna see a lot of retro commissioning, we're gonna see a lot of interior gut, rehab jobs and stuff like that. So, it's gonna be very interesting to see how much that shifts the market and how much that shifts the building stock in LA specifically. But that's the intent, is that all of the existing building stock is gonna come up to code,
Sure.
basically.
Well, and that, feeds into maybe Dustin, if we're doing it, if there's a market sector there, potentially, maybe there is, maybe there isn't, for work that's 2 to 3 years out, where some of these clients will need to do something to their building, and maybe we can pre-position ourselves. Maybe it's a good fit, maybe it's not, I don't
Well,
know.
we're already talking about, capital planning, so if you're looking at investments in your infrastructure, that needs to happen now on your calendars, and for planning 2 and 3 years out for implementation, so, the conversations are happening.
Yeah, and it's great that Holly's been involved. We've had owners calling us. Not sure if it's confidential or not, so I don't want to share that, but there's like a college that has a presence with some large buildings downtown LA that we're going to meet with on Monday just to talk with them about what the requirements are and how to make sure that they're compliant. So it is already having an impact on the market in advance of this July 1st deadline, but it's all about transparency, right? So this is just, buildings showing like, what if all buildings had transparent information available, just like what you see on a food box in the grocery, Lead has been kind of using that analogy for a while, but it's true, like right now, before this ordinance, there was no requirement for building owners to disclose the energy and water usage data from their property. And they're just these massive hogs of energy and water. So this ordinance requires reporting, requires the building owner to show the energy and water usage of the project. And then that in turn will influence the value of the property and ability to sell it and so on. So it has a big impact on things.
But ownership's not forced to bring it up, are they?
They are
Are they-
forced to disclose.
I mean, okay, so they're forced to disclose the information as far as usage, but are they forced to bring up their current
Performance.
plumbing and electrical up to the to these new standards? Or are they
Yes.
so they are forced to, so.
Correct, right. Oh, and it's gonna depend on your assessor's parcel number, and then it's on a 5-year cycle. And you're gonna have to demonstrate improvement until you actually reach the Energy Star certification for your building. And then they still haven't come up with what is compliance for water yet.
Okay.
But it's like kind of a timeline. I think we might have a
I
slide
think
on
the
that.
5-year
The
performance
July
might be.
1st deadline coming up in just a few months is just to report. You don't actually have to do the work by July 1st, obviously. They give much more time than that. So these are the buildings that are going to be mandated to comply with the ordinance. For privately owned buildings, anything greater than 20,000 square feet in the city of LA, including commercial, multifamily, industrial. And then for public buildings, like city buildings, for example, anything greater than 7,500 square feet and 15,000 square feet for efficiency actions. So these are the dates here. You can see, so anything greater than 100,000 square feet, so the biggest projects in the city, or biggest buildings in the city, have to do their reporting by July 1st in the next few months. Then about a year later, April 2018, the next chunk of smaller buildings, 50,000 square feet and up, and then another year later for 20,000 square feet and up. So trying to hit the biggest ones first, give more time to those smaller property owners. So moving on from that, this is something that's really cool, or we think it's cool, but the city of Santa Monica, first in the world to enact a net zero code, so making single-family construction requiring the construction to be net zero as of January 1st of this year. There's state of California code changes planned for net zero for residential for 2020, so another 2.5 years or so. So City of Santa Monica elected to go all the way now and do that as of January 1st. We just gave them an award last week at the USGBC LA Municipal Green Building Conference for that, for their sort of leadership here. But yeah, any single family construction in Santa Monica now has to be net zero. Pretty amazing.
Is there a chance that could extend to multifamily housing?
Yeah.
Yeah, I think so. Do you know the details on that?
That was 2030, wasn't it?
So the plan is, for statewide, it's 2020 for residential,
Single family.
Single family, and 2030 for commercial. So eventually, it'll be all types of construction, including multifamily. I don't know specifically for the city of Santa Monica what their sort of timeline is, but I'm sure that will be part of the plan down the road. So next, we're going to switch topics again to the city of LA, to the city's sustainability plan that's led by the mayor, and there's also an office of sustainability that's in the part of the mayor's office in the city of LA. They call it the plan, and it covers environment and the economy and equity, all related to sustainability. There's a lot of goals within the plan related to energy and water and waste. It's a large, 100-page document with targets for all these sorts of things, and then they show progress along the way. So this first came out a little over a year ago, I believe, and so they just came out with the first annual update of the plan, and it's showing progress in all these indicators. It's just nice that the city of LA and the mayor are attuned to sustainability issues and are pushing for these things to happen. Not every city is like that. One other thing that the county of LA just made effective, was this as of January 1st as well?
I think
The
it was
Envision plan?
last year.
Last year?
Yeah.
So Envision is another rating system for infrastructure projects that the county of LA is now using. This is just an example of one of their projects. The South LA Wetland Park was certified Envision Platinum. I'm going to move on to net zero energy. I've kind of been touching on this, but we're just showing the planned California code change dates, 2020 for residential, 2030 for commercial. California leads the way nationally, right? This is not happening in the rest of the country. California is definitely the leader here. Code change dates, might push out a little bit, but right now they're still sticking with these that have been out for a few years now. We're going to talk about our conference a little bit at the end, but we think we're going to have huge growth, just like those graphs I showed of LEED growing over the past 10 years. We think the same thing is going to happen with net zero because it's driven by code. It has to happen. And so we think our conference is going to have a lot of attention and movement around it because of the code changes. These are sort of the date timeline from 2010 to 2020 and showing different Title 24 updates and CALGreen updates along the way. We can send you guys these slides afterward as well so you have them if you're interested in checking all this out, but again, focusing on where we're getting to in 2020, the requirement for all new residential to be net zero.
Hey Drew, maybe you could just take just a minute, and then maybe you can talk, I don't know if everyone understands what Title 24 and what CALGreen is.
Yeah, so CALGreen is just the state of California Green Building Code. So it's code, so it's required on every project. It's interesting to me because my entire work history is in California. I haven't really, and I'm from Maine originally, and I haven't done a lot of work on the East Coast, but they don't have this, and it's very progressive code that's much more stringent than a lot of other areas of the country that requires, energy and water performance in a lot of other areas. It really mimics LEED in a lot of ways. There's not direct correlation. Holly's going to cover that a little bit later today about some of the overlap areas between CALGreen and LEED. But there is some alignment there, and then Title 24 is the energy code, the state energy code.
Just to clarify, they all fall under Title 24 in the state of California. It's different parts of the code that dictate the energy efficiency requirements or CALGreen.